Oh my god, this is a doozy of an episode. This is a doozy of a cliffhanger, all on the heels of The Rise of Skywalker. Guys, let's talk about The Mandalorian Chapter 7, The Reckoning. We start the episode off with Greef Karga having a new proposition for Mando. And I know his name is Din Djarin, but as long as they call him Mando, he's Mando. So Greef Karga proposes that Mando return to Navarro, use Baby Yoda as bait to draw out the client who has occupied the area with a fire team of stormtroopers. Already it sounds like a trap. Cara Dune is back, as we've been guessing and has been alluded to in previous episodes building up to this one. Mando starts building a team. Team member 1, Cara Dune, shock trooper, muscle. Team member 2, Kuiil, logistics, babysitter. Team member 3, an unexpected IG-11, back from the dead, rewired by Kuiil, no longer an assassin droid, no longer trying to kill the child, appears to be somewhat of a butler type of droid now, serving tea, moving things for Kuiil. Definitely a different droid, but I'm assuming for story purposes, IG-11 is just a butler and a servant for now to kind of create a sense of security. But despite Kuiil's reprogramming, I think we're going to see in future episodes that IG-11 still maintains a lot of assassin-like qualities. It's going to still be dangerous, it's going to still know how to shoot a blaster, and it's going to be a relevant part of Mando's team. Mando references Strandcast when referring to the child, which I can't find any reference to in Legends, EU, or canon. If we look up the definition of strandcasting and metalworking, we can see that it is some type of molding. Kuiil debunks Mando's assertion, saying that the child doesn't look like it was genetically farmed, so we can infer that strandcasting might be Star Wars' version of genetic manipulation or gene coding or artificial life. It's really great to have Kuiil back. His disposition creates a nice contrast to Mando and Cara. As the resident old man who acts as a voice of reason, he grounds Mando and by proxy Cara in this episode. As expected, the team squabbles begin quite early as Cara engages in the spirit of competition with Mando, causing Baby Yoda to see her as a potential threat. What we see next is a little bit troubling. Baby Yoda's force choke is an odd choice here. I've only ever seen this technique used by dark side users. It'll definitely be interesting to learn more about the child and what this all means. As far as we know of Yoda's species, they are especially in tune with the Force, namely the light side. As paragons of the light side, particularly Yoda, it's interesting to see the child exhibit dark side powers. It's both interesting, intriguing, and worrisome at the same time. Anyways, they meet with Karga back on Navarro, and of course, from the onset, everything looks way too suspect. As they rest by the campfire, they're attacked by Drogon, Viserys, and Rhaegal. Kuiil loses a blurg, but amidst the attack, Karga is injured really badly. And what we see next is both astonishing and affirming.
He's trying to eat me.
Force healing, a technique used with most success by Jedi healers. We haven't seen this in canon. In the expanded universe / Legends, Silgal, Luke Skywalker's apprentice, used force healing to cure Mon Mothma of Nanomachine's poisoning. Although this was also used by dark side users, the side effects were too great and the benefits short-lived. So the technique has now been made canon. But of course it was a trap all along. Greef Karga, however, has a change of heart due to the fact that the child just saved his life. They hatch a plan to get inside and meet the client, and there's some interesting conversation here, an interesting kind of dialogue that, reinforces the image of the New Republic that they've been alluding to in this series, as the client spins tales of dystopia where the Empire had, a great means of peace and prosperity, of trade, and with the New Republic, everything's gone to shit and everything's chaotic. Not long after that, the client is interrupted by Moff Gideon, and what happens after that is surprising to say the least, and not surprising at the same time. They're fired upon by Death Troopers and all of Moff Gideon's stormtroopers, and they're all wiped out, and Mando Greef and Kara find themselves besieged. As Moff Gideon makes his descent and starts a powerful speech, we see what makes this episode maddening and sad. Kuiil, in his infinite and glorified existence, dies. I'm inclined to say this is the stupidest move that they could ever make for a character who has slowly become a fan favorite for his mannerisms as well as his disposition. But after thinking about it very carefully, I kind of feel like this is the most effective way of raising the stakes in a conflict that has mostly taken place externally and subliminally. We now have the main antagonist of the show, and presumably they have now taken the child captive. And when I think about the show and the timeline it exists in, I'm thinking this is the start of the First Order making its existence known. I'm really bummed about losing Kuiil. That makes 2 characters now with huge, tremendous potential dead. And although we don't know what really happened at the end of the Gunslinger, the body count remains Kuiil, Fennec Shand. The stakes have been raised permanently. As we went through each episode, we found very compartmentalized and isolated conflicts. From one planet to the next, Mando has handily taken care of anything that has been thrown at him, and the plot just moves forward. I'm inclined to believe that this episode particularly has cemented or established The Mandalorian as a serious TV show with serious consequences, especially with the loss of Kuiil. With the child now in captivity and Moff Gideon besieging Mando and his team, the situation looks dire. With the timing of this episode, I expect some sort of tie-in with the movies as far as Moff Gideon is concerned, or the child, something. Of course, it could also mean that the timing was just to make room for the Rise of Skywalker, which would also be fine, but it would be cool to get a taste of the kind of universe building we'll get with Disney Plus and by proxy Marvel. But I'm really hoping that I'm wrong about Kuiil and IG-11 saves him and comes in at the last moment. It's a cliche trope, but one that I'd welcome with open arms. Now obviously IG-11 is still on the ship, he's still there, so whether or not Kuiil is actually dead, he's going to play a huge part in the conclusion of this debacle and saving Mando and his team from being besieged by Moff Gideon. But we'll have to wait and see. So that'll do it for my review of The Mandalorian Chapter 7, The Reckoning. The Rise of Skywalker is just, several hours away. It's finally here, and I'm going to be seeing it on Sunday, so you can expect my review on Monday. If you guys like this video, hit the like button and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you see more from me, and I'll see you guys next time. But as always, may the Force be with you.